Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/Entitled Karens. In today's episode, Karen loses her mind after her trainer refuses to see her at a new time. Karen's sister won't even parent her kids. Dear Karen, before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Karen loses her mind after her trainer refuses to see her at a new time. Not my story, but my personal trainer who asked me for advice on how to respond to her. My personal trainer, let's call him A, is a really good guy. He's understanding and gives people chances, but will put down boundaries when needed. We've been good friends and we ask each other for advice, and one Friday morning he asked me for advice on how to respond to a client and fire her. So the backstory, this lady, let's call her B, has a son who attended dance classes on a Friday morning next door to my trainer's gym. She decided to sign on as a client of his, but only wanted the time slot her son was dancing. Which makes sense. However, the time fell during mine and the ladies' after mine sessions. So he asked us if we could make mine earlier and hers later. No problem from either of us. We were happy he had a new client. Happy to accommodate. Because he is up at 3 to 4 a.m. every day including Saturdays, and his last client is at 7 p.m., he is in bed early, and he tells his clients that if we call or text him after 9 p.m. we need to understand he might not answer. He also makes it clear in his contracts he needs 24 hours notice to arrange a different time if we want to reschedule our sessions with him. We can cancel as things happen, but rescheduling is more difficult and we need to find a time that's not already taken by another client to do so. Or that client must be willing to share their session, which is on an individual basis, as not all of us like to train in front of other people, hence why we use a private gym and trainer. He also will need to check with other clients if they are free to change too. So it's not just about our individual times, there are clients involved in rescheduling. So the night before this Friday, he received a text from B, not asking, but demanding she sees him at 1400 hours on Friday instead of 9:30 as per their appointment arrangement, as her son's dance class is now at 1400 hours. Her text was verbatim: my son's dance class is at 1400 hours tomorrow. I won't see you at 9:30 but rather 1400 hours. See you then. He of course only saw it when he woke up Friday morning. And he responded firstly an apology for only answering the next day, and that he couldn't as he already had another appointment then and he couldn't change it with such short notice. She lost it. She started berating him for not responding the night before. She told him he was being inconsiderate and that as his client she expects him to make a plan and sacrifices to see her. That she is the boss here and not him. She then tried to guilt him by telling him that the least he could do was to accommodate her, seeing as she's a paying customer. She finished her rant off with "see you at 1400 hours." And that was it. So this is where I walk in. I read the text and I got all the information, and he also dropped the bombshell that she actually hasn't even paid her last invoice. Like WTF? She uses the fact she's a paying customer to guilt him into accommodating her? After he has already accommodated her by changing times with already established clients and allowing her to still train even though she hasn't paid? How much more accommodating was she expecting from someone who was already more accommodating than most businesses would be? So I typed a response on his behalf to her text and basically told her that unfortunately she can't just demand a new time on short notice. And yes, even 9 p.m. was short notice, as the contract clearly states 24 hours notice. She needs to remember she's not his only client, and that in order to accommodate her demands, other clients will be inconvenienced and their schedules changed and possibly messed up, so he needs to get their feedback, and unfortunately if it's less than 24 hours, he can't as per the contract. I then added that he had already accommodated her by organizing 2 of his clients to give up their times to suit her time, and that he's allowed her to train even though she hasn't yet paid her last invoice and was 3 weeks overdue. He finds her expectations to accommodate her even further at short notice at the expense of other paying clients unacceptable after everything he's already done that he hasn't even done for others. I then finished the text off with, "She either pays and comes at the agreed time every Friday, give 24 hours notice of a reschedule in future and they move on from this, or they leave it, she doesn't pay, and they go their separate ways. He read my response, was happy with it. Added a few things, changed a few things into his tone, and he sent it. No response after that. She read the text as it was blue tick on WhatsApp. She didn't pay, she didn't pitch again, and her son was taken out of dance too. My trainer is always willing to accommodate us if able to with reschedules, but all he asks is 24 hours notice to give him a chance to try make it possible. He really could not do 1400 hours that day, and had he known 24 hours in advance, he may have been able to accommodate her. Also, had she asked and not just demanded, I think he'd have been more accommodating. First, she is not the boss of him, and second, he should have fired her as a client. I'm glad this worked out, but I feel bad for her kid. You just know she's blaming this all on him because his class changed. I'm guessing the kid lost his dance class because of her. I'm a private guitar teacher, so my business model is identical. I have a schedule of clients, and just like a doctor's office, I require 24-hour notice for any requested changes. The hard part is sticking to that. Early in my career, I was very accommodating and people-pleasing. Over time, I learned that just indicated to a few certain people that I could be taken advantage of, and overall it made things harder for me. I got some advice from a friend who runs a client-based business, and he told me I need to publish my policy and make sure all my clients are aware of it, and then stick to it no matter what. Even if I could accommodate something requested within 24 hours, I'm training people that my policy doesn't actually mean anything and can be gamed if I do that. So, I stopped doing that, and lo and behold, my clients all started sticking to their schedules religiously, and I've never had an issue since. I've had to fire a couple of clients too. It's never pretty, but it's necessary to keep my business running smoothly. Karen's sister won't even parent her kids. As the title suggests, my sister barely parents her children and blames me for not parenting my daughter to her standards. She has 3 kids, 2 girls and a boy. The eldest is in 1st grade, well-behaved, athletically inclined. Middle child has been kicked out of 2 daycares to my knowledge for choking other kids. You read that right, choking others. Her son is only 3 and meet only a handful of times, so really can't comment on other than the terrible 2's behavior. All 3 spend more time in daycare, school, and or with a nanny than she parents. Yes, I did move out of town from my partner and daughter, but not because I'm a bad parent. I did it for financial reasons. Mom has a great job that is very flexible with hours with decent benefits. I took a job with the state that pays really well. Where I live now is only an hour and 45-ish minutes away, so I go see them all but one weekend this year. I had a family wedding in January. Yes, I could have declined the event, but would never hear the end of it if I did. I also Zoom call my daughter every night I don't see her. Yet I'm a worse parent because I made a financial decision. Yes, my current situation isn't ideal, but I don't expect others to parent her when I can't or don't want to. There are many dads, such as truck drivers, who are only able to be home weekends. Your situation isn't rare. You are providing for your family. The question would be, are you actively parenting? From your post, it appears you are. What's damaging for your sister is that the less you care about her, the less her comments hurt. She's driving you away. Living your life well, loving your wife and daughter, is your best rebuttal. I gotten that vibe she hates me because she wishes she could spend more time with her kids. I'd rather take a job that pays a third of her job just for the monthly 3-day weekend. I also Zoom call my daughter every night I don't see her. I'd bet you know her teacher's name, her friends' names, her favorite activities and characters. I'd bet you help her prepare for every school event and sports meet. I bet your wife records or live streams them as often as allowed. You are there for your daughter. Every single day. She recently started lacrosse and there was 4 teammates with the same first name. So that took a little time to get them straight. Just don't ask me to spell one of their last names.
Stereotypically long Eastern European last name, the parents joke that it has every letter in the alphabet.
I left my current job when my son was born and COVID hit, thinking being home every single night would be better.
Went back to my traveling job and I get to spend more time with my kids even when I'm gone.
I'm home for a week at a time and get to spend all of it, all day with them.
Even though I don't have a day off, weekends are my favorite days of my week.
Yes, you are a worse parent for choosing money over actually being with your child.
She's still a Karen though.
So, the only thing I got from this tirade/rant is that you're judgmental, and more than a little jealous of your sister's financial status. So, the only thing I got from your tirade/rant is that you're judgmental and have poor reading comprehension.
Dear Karen,
I was turning left. I know I didn't have a stop sign, and there was a short break in the cars coming from the opposite direction, but I did not feel safe enough to make my turn. You don't need to honk at me to remind me I need to get moving. I know I'm blocking traffic on the road, but if I don't think the gap is large enough, I'm not going to risk my safety and only means of transportation for both my husband and I, just so you can go to a hair appointment or something.
Sincerely, me.
Here in South Florida, people don't honk much, but they will do other crazy things. Twice I've had impatient people that were behind me try to turn left before I did. Both times I pretended I didn't notice they were doing that and just turned left normally into the closest lane, and they had to adjust.
One guy almost hit the median that I forced him towards.
Honestly, I am disappointed that he didn't.
Idiots.
What you realize after you've been driving for a while is that reaction time diminishes with age. So while you may feel safe turning, the person in front of you may not. They may have worse eyesight, they may not be as good calculating traffic flows, their car may be slow. There's any number of reasons why one person may feel safe to turn while another does not.
I had someone honk at me at a stop sign once.
I was at an intersection where people without a stop sign go pretty fast, plus you have to pull out pretty far to see both ways. I was waiting for a car to go by and this pickup behind me honked. I almost got out of the car. I was so pissed/shocked that someone would actually do this.
Pure stupidity.
My mom told me a few years ago she was pulling out of the grocery store lot. The way things are arranged there, you pull out to make a right turn, but to get home she had to then get across 2 lanes and into the left turn lane. There was traffic in the way of her doing that, so Karen behind her actually tried bumping her car to force her to pull out.
She hit the brakes and went out when it was safe.
I forgot to add, she had the Karen look, haircut, sunglasses, and her car was huge.
I'm a mail carrier, and the bad driving I have experienced from the public is insane.
The worst one, so far, has been the person that passed me on the right as I was blinking to pull up to a mailbox. I've been hit 3 times while at a complete stop at mailboxes.
Signs, flashing lights, I'm just a big target.
Yep.
I have an economy model Hyundai.
It's a good little machine, but it's not going to zoom around like a performance racer.
I've seen enough dashcam crash videos not to take the chance at any intersection or turn. I'd rather arrive at my destination 1 minute later than arrive with a wrecked vehicle, or worse.
Another Karen tonight, illegally passed after riding my bumper for over a mile when I was going the speed limit on a dark road with a lot of turns. They were speeding, speed limit was 30 miles per hour. They were probably going 50 miles per hour or more, easy to do if you're not paying attention to the speed limit and there's nobody in front of you, but I was in front of them. Where's a cop when needed? The illegal pass was over a double yellow on a 2-lane road. I live next to a 4-way stop and people run it constantly. Then, when they almost hit you, they honk and flip you off like you did something wrong.
That happens a lot here though. Not just at that stop.
I once had a guy come into the oncoming lane to cut into a turn lane and nearly hit me head on. Then screamed and flipped me off even though he was literally in the wrong effing lane. A guy pulled up next to me at the next stoplight and told me he would have stayed and been a witness had that guy hit me. So I was at least thankful for that.
If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.